My story begins in summer of 2014. We found out we were pregnant with baby number 2, and we were so excited. Everything started out wonderfully. You know, you get into the safe zone of pregnancy, so they say. I was feeling really good. I mean, I kind of did have this feeling like the entire time that something was off. Everything was going really well, but then at 17 weeks, I started noticing some bleeding. So we went into the doctor. Baby looked great. We just kind of, just took it easy. The bleeding was fairly light, and then a couple weeks later, we found out we were having a girl. We did a gender reveal for our parents, but I had a hard time being fully excited because it's just in the back of my mind there was still something off. I was 22 weeks pregnant. The bleeding did get progressively worse over the next few weeks, and then at 22 weeks I started having contractions at home, which in my mind I didn't want to believe they were contractions. I mean, I was only 22 weeks pregnant. This can't be possible. And the bleeding was worse than it's ever been. So we went into the hospital that night, and upon arrival they checked me, and I was 7 centimeters dilated. And at that point, I just felt like my world was crashing down. I knew at that point that I was gonna go through labor and delivery and not bring home a baby, and that just crushed me. I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. So after a thankfully short labor and delivery, she was born at 15 ounces. She took one tiny little breath in my arms. We spent a lot of time with her, held her a lot. We named her Hailey Grace. The next few weeks, months were definitely hard. I had all the emotions, confused, sad, mad, but for some reason I still had hope. So after a lot of thought and prayer, and we decided to move forward and try again a few months later, and just a few days shy of Hailey's 1-year birthday, we had another little girl. She was such a blessing. We named her kind of after Hailey. She was perfect, such a blessing. Just a reminder of God's love and grace for us. So we named her Elena Grace. Last summer, the summer of 2018, early summer, we found out we were pregnant again, and I was so excited because I just felt like my family wasn't complete. Again, everything progressed wonderfully, but again, I had that feeling that something was off, and something, I don't know, I just had that worried feeling. I was almost 14 weeks pregnant and got really sick. I could not get out of bed for about 2 days straight. Fever, chills. Then at the end of the second day, I started noticing some bleeding, and I was just devastated. The next morning came the cramps, and so I went to the ER. We saw the baby on the ultrasound right away, and the baby looked great. It's just like, okay, why is this happening again? Kind of completely unrelated situations, but just still, why is this happening? Again, it was thankfully short. A couple hours later, baby was born, and later on we had found out it was another girl. We named her Hudsyn Faith, because at that point all I could have was faith and hope. We had hope for our future. So there's been so much prayer and faith through my healing journey. I don't think I could have done it without the hope of Jesus. The verse Jeremiah 29:11 is one of my favorites. Talks about how God has plans for you. He will prosper you. He will not harm you. He will give you hope and a future. I just live by those words, and it's just, I just know that there's hope out there, and obviously knowing that I'll see them again someday, that gives me hope. Knowing that they are with the best father ever is very comforting. As parents, we want our children to be safe and to be happy, and I can't imagine a better place than heaven for them to have that. The most helpful thing for me after the loss was just all the support and the family, and being able to talk about it. I would encourage anyone that has gone through a loss to reach out to somebody, to talk about it, to say, if you were able to name your baby, to say your baby's name, and to know that they meant something. Clearly, God has continued to give me hope and a future. I mean, we are expecting a baby boy come August. I just feel so good right now, and I know God has his hand in this completely. I know I couldn't have as much, less anxiety this time around than I would have if I didn't have hope in Jesus, because it's hard enough the way it is. To knowing that the Lord has plans for us and a future for us definitely puts me at ease as I go through this pregnancy.